What up, world? It's your boy Lyles. Back with another edition of Candy Kids. What's happening with y'all? What's going on with you? Everybody good? I hope everybody in good spirits. We moving into Memorial Day weekend. We still putting that grind in. We still putting that work in. You know what I'm saying? And I've been talking a lot about getting into like what you guys got to do as far as career choices, but I never really jumped into it. But the last video I said I would delve into it a little bit more. So I want to talk about one of the best career choices you guys can go to, and I'm not even gonna wait. I'm gonna go right for the jugular. HVAC. That's heating, air conditioning, ventilation, and you can take the HVAC-R course, which is for refrigeration. Now, each one of those is a different trade in itself, and you can work in each one of those separately, or you could do them all combined. But depending on what area you in, will determine what type of jobs you will be doing. Mainly in the South, they do a lot of heat pumps, so they do a lot more air conditioning, and they do refrigeration. But it's a lot of heat pumps. There's not really many boilers down there, so you get a lot more work with the AC side of things. In New York, the North, you do more boilers because it's a lot more colder throughout the year than it is in the South. So you'll be doing AC maybe 3 months out the year, 2 months, 2 to 3 months, and you'll be doing a lot of refrigeration work for restaurants, and you'll be doing the boilers, unless you're in a building. One of the good things about the ventilation thing is because you can become a sheet metal worker, and you can get a good union job, local 28 in New York. You can do local 638, and these are great careers, and you can actually do this for yourself. That's a real added benefit. When you're doing air conditioning and refrigeration, it encompasses many different trades within itself, as far as plumbing and electrical, as well as air conditioning. You're going to be doing not heavy duty electric. I mean, you may be dealing with high voltage, but you're definitely going to be dealing with low voltage for controls. When you're dealing with the high voltage, it's more so a wiring, motors. You're going to be dealing with a lot of that kind of stuff. Maybe you're running your power to your boiler, maybe you're running power to your condensers. But usually you're supposed to get a licensed electrician to run your high voltage. And you got to check your local law for your county or town, whatever jurisdiction that goes over that. But when you're dealing with the control wiring, which is the 24 volt control wiring, you usually handle that, which would be maybe a thermostat, or your controls, your safeties and things of that nature, So you're gonna have to learn electric. You're gonna be dealing with plumbing because you gotta run drain lines. You might have to pipe. You might not have a refrigeration system you install, and there might be a chill water system that you install. So you gotta run your lines for that, for your supply and your return. You gotta learn how to install valves for those systems and things of that nature. And so the thing to do all of these things is to go to school for it. And you also want to shadow somebody. But this is the one trade that you can go around the world and do. This is the one trade that you don't have to look for a job with this trade. They'll look for you. Actually, there is no jobs. It's all careers when you deal with this trade. You could become a building engineer with this trade, where you get your license to operate the chiller. In New York, we have big buildings, and you cannot have air conditioning systems run these big buildings. It's not cost effective. So we have things that's called chillers that chill down water, and it brings the water temperature down to about 40 degrees. And it depends on what the application is, whether it's for, what are you using it for, but usually we send about 40 degrees to an air handler, which will blow out 50 degrees. If that's a hospital, to cool the space is 60. Or we could put out 50 degree water. That's going to discharge about 60 degree air to make it 70 degrees for office spaces. So these are things that you're going to learn as a building operator. The best thing to me, as far as the HVAC trade, is actually becoming a building operator, a building engineer, or, that's what I kind of that's what I lean towards. With me, I used to work at the hospital, now I work at the power company, and that's what I do. And I also work outside. I've worked on refrigeration, did walk-in boxes, ductless splits installs, split unit installs, package installs. I work on boilers, and then another added thing to this will be you be able to work on your own systems. You won't have to call anybody really for nothing. I install tankless water heaters, hot water heaters, just and a lot of stuff I've done on my own. I got a whole bunch of tools, and that's one of the most important things to get is your tools. Make sure you get your tools and use your tools. That's how you become not good but great. And this is a trade that doesn't discriminate if you have a criminal background, because we know a lot of our brothers and sisters of I want to say black community, or even any community that has had trouble in the past, and now they want to find a second chance at life and turn their life around. Air conditioning is the perfect trade. If you're a hard worker, a lot of you guys go to construction, and construction is great, but I would advise you guys, to look into the HVAC field, because in HVAC you might not make as much money per hour. Well, you're gonna make some good money per hour, but you won't make as much as construction. But with HVAC, you're gonna work way more than you would work in construction, so you end up making almost twice what some of these guys is making in a year, because it's consistent. There's really no layoffs. Even during this pandemic, people are still out here working in the HVAC trade. Construction sites are shut down. I mean, you do have a lot of construction sites that's back open. Really, I got paint on me too. I was painting my daughter's room yesterday. That's another thing. It's carpentry involved in HVAC too. Because when you're dealing with ductwork, you're like a metal carpenter. So you got to learn how to use a tape measure. You got to learn how to use a level and various different hand tools. When you get your chiller license, if you don't want to be the guy that's out here carrying compressors up ladders and doing installs and things of that nature, you can go into a building like a school, and being that you have your chiller license, And if you get your steam license, you become a chief engineer. You don't have to really do physical labor. I know a bunch of guys that got their licenses and don't even know how to use refrigeration gauges. If something goes wrong with the unit, they pick up the phone and call somebody. So you can still make good money and not really have to be the top tech either. But I would advise for guys just getting into the trade to spend some time outside and get your skills together and bounce around. Go to different places and learn different things. And always make sure you got a good mechanic that you can shadow after, who's willing to teach you, right? And usually what I found is usually the brothers. And sometimes you'll find really knowledgeable white people that will show you things too, right? But you could run into people that don't want to show you things. So here's why you should go to school. But let me break it down. When you on a job site, you get paid for what you know. So if you don't learn in the field, you could be a helper for a very long time. And you got to learn by somebody teaching you. Now you get some mechanics that don't want you to learn because they feel like you're going to replace them or take their job. So when they got to repair something, they'll have you bring all of the tools for them. And then when you got to repair something, they'll send you to go get coffee. And when you come back, they finish the job and won't show you what they did. Or they'll send you to the truck to go get another tool, finish it, and won't show you what they did. But what happens is, when you go to school, they teach you what they did before you even get out in the field. Not only that, they teach you the theory on what you're doing, so you know why that person is doing what he's doing. So it don't matter if he showed you what he did, you know why he did what he did. You know what he did and you know why he did. There's a lot of guys that do things because they just been in the trade and they don't really understand why they're doing it. They just know that they was taught to do it and the system works. But you can't become a good troubleshooter if you don't know why you're doing what you're doing. You don't want to be a part changer. To be valued to a company or to a homeowner, to run your own business, you got to be a great troubleshooter. And school will teach you how to do that. But that's it for this video. This went kind of past my time. I'm going to pick up on this video on part 2 of this on the next one, and I'm going to talk about taking advantage of your time and the school I went to and the classes I took and things of that nature and how it worked out for me and why you got to do things right away. But that's it for now.